Number two, what is the law as it is today? You know, we are discussing this matter as if there's a legislation before Parliament regarding the degree or no degree.
Right.
This law was passed way back.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what IBC did was just to disclose, or I mean,
Yes.
remind Kenyans that it exists.
I need to hold on for a bit because your microphone has a bit of a problem, but I'm going to come back to you. Your point of view on this question of degree or no degree, and why are we even having this discussion now? Yeah. Where do you stand on this matter, Rigathi?
Well, James, I think Kenya is a democratic country, and freedom of choice is enshrined in the Constitution. I think, in the first place, I think that was not a very good law. People must be given a chance to choose the leader that they want, you know, and we have seen leaders with degrees, but their performance is way below par. We have seen leaders with diplomas, with certificates, and they are great leaders in their own right. I think the people of Kenya must be given an opportunity to choose, because you have fellows with degrees, fellows who don't have degrees, and they can make a decision.
But that's just like we shouldn't have like a minimum. This is the basic. Like we should have a basic standard. We can't. Well, surely we can't just say.
Well, I think a certificate is good enough, especially when we look at the member of the county assembly. These are guys who are spending most of their time with the people, and they are there on the ground with the people.
They have oversight role as well.
They have oversight role,
They
but
control,
I think a diploma is good enough. You know, this country, the way I know it, most of people who have done a lot of innovations technically are diploma holders from polytechnics. In fact, I'm quite comfortable myself in my CDF. The clerk of works, I would rather deal with a guy with a diploma in civil engineering than a degree holder. The degree holders sometimes are a bit theoretical. The guys with the diplomas from the technical training colleges are quite practical. So, but I think the bottom line is you must allow the Kenyan voter a choice without having too many restrictions and too many inhibitions. And we are also looking at certain areas that are marginalized for many years, you know, and they are yet to catch up in terms of education. And I think condemning them that they must have degree holders and they have not had the benefit of equal opportunities in terms of pursuing education and going up to the degree level, I think it will be quite inhibiting to some people in this country. But even like where I come from in Nyeri, I have several MCAs in Madeira, and you know, 3 of them have degrees. 3 don't have. 1 of them doesn't have a degree. He's on top of the world in terms of performance, you know, and I'm quite happy. And another one has a degree, but you know, when I listen to him and the ideas that he have, I have serious issues. And I think like one of those guys, if he's locked out because of lack of degree, it will be denying the people for that particular ward an opportunity to choose a leader that they believe in, yeah, and who shares their aspirations and who is available to them. Because this leadership is not just about oversight, it's about also representation. And you may have a leader who is available to the people, who is at home with their aspirations, who understands them, who feels them. Yeah, you may have other guys who have degrees, but they have no touch. You know, they have no empathy. They are not able to internalize, you know, the daily issues that affects the people that they represent. So if you deny people a chance, you know, it's like when we are being told, some people are suggesting that some constituencies be reserved for women. I mean, that would be denying people an opportunity, you know, to choose a leader of their choice, because the law says this particular constituency, yeah, this is reserved for women. They are very good women, but there could be better men. So yeah, that is something that needs to be discussed. But if there is an amendment, yes, to this law to push it another 5 years, because it was pushed. We
keep pushing it.
Yeah, I'll be supportive. Yeah. I'll be supportive myself, because I don't think really that academic qualifications will define a leader. Leadership is defined from many perspectives. There are leaders who are charismatic, there are leaders who are born, there are leaders who have gone to school.
And academic qualifications are one of it.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
But you're on some train of thought here.
Yeah, I started before the interruption of the mic.
Yes, please go ahead now.
Let me put it this way. And I think the discussion we should be having is not about whether the minimum academic qualification should be a degree or not. What we need to talk about is whether those who are seeking elective positions require certain basic minimum academic qualification. And if so, which is this basic academic qualification?
Right.
Two, I think also what we need to appreciate is that this law has been in place from 2017. And so it is not a new thing. What IBC did was just to remind Kenyans who are interested in seeking elective positions next year that it exists. I remember in 2018, I had a public rally and I mentioned it, and I was almost crucified by especially nominated MCS. From my county, they even held a press conference to castigate. But I just reminded them that in the next election, if you don't have a degree, then you will not be able to either be nominated or even contest for any political position. I want to remind Kenyans that there is a history to this piece of legislation. It is Kenyans themselves in Bomas who discussed and decided that there should be minimum academic qualification. And in that, if you look at the Committee of Experts report, it was a degree qualification. But when it went to Naivasha, just allow me to give this background, because I see people discussing this matter as if it had never been discussed.
I want to come to your background because it's important, but also need the Ndegwa to just make a mention because I need you to give this background because he needs to react fast. Ndegwa, here's the thing. You've come out and you've been quite, clear and honest, and you've said the degree qualification is absolutely no from the members of county assembly, and you represent them. And I just want to get a sense, before we go to the background and get to the history, and I'm going to come back to that. Why were you opposed to having a minimum requirement so that you can run for office? Someone has just asked me right now on social networks, we want a primary school teacher to have some qualifications. We want an ECD teacher to have some sort of qualifications. Why are we saying for political office, you're going to control a lot of money, you're going to control our destiny, but you don't want any qualifications for that? How is that?
Okay, I think, James, the issue is that we cannot overlook the provisions of Article 1 of the Constitution. We can also not overlook Article 99 of the Constitution, which allows Parliament to legislate on basic education requirements. But then we can also operate assuming that Article 38 of the Constitution on reasonability of registration made, and also Article 27 of the Constitution on discrimination. What we are saying is that Kenyans, and Wajiko is in a position to make appropriate decisions, should be allowed on the ballot, and then let Wajiko make her choice. James, the issue is that Article 1 is what the courts or constitutional lawyers call primary constituent power. And now with Article 22, Section 22 of the Elections Act, and especially 1B, is that some people, and that is IBC, will sit down and decide who is qualified to contest for an election. The people, I am a lawyer for many years studying, I did not even become aware when this law was being amended. Wajiko definitely was never aware through public participation that she was required to cede part of her sovereignty and give it to the IBC. And also, I really cannot satisfy myself how Parliament thought this was a priority. Out of all the registrations they are required to make to operationalize the Constitution. Because on the qualifications. First, they should have ensured that there are enough spaces in our universities, that anybody who wants to go to university, there is a space in our universities to walk in and take up your degree. I would have expected Parliament to satisfy itself that our families have such economies to be able to sponsor their children for university education. Most importantly,
Yes.
I would have expected Parliament to carry out a very serious empirical study to tell us that those wards or constituencies with the degrees are doing better than those wards or constituencies with those who have no degrees. Otherwise, this law, to me,
Yes.
has no foundation, has
Okay.
no basis, has no justification. And that's why I'm saying it had other objectives other than to ensure that Kenyans get better services.
So that now, Mbadi gets now to your good point, which is now the historical background of how we got here.
First, before the the 2010 constitution, there was a basic requirement for anyone to run for a political office. You had to be literate in both English and Kiswahili. It was that
You get
basic.
tested for that.
And I actually went through that
Yes.
in my first term.
Yes.
I got exemption because I did both English and Kiswahili in high school. But those who didn't do either had to go through a test. I remember my friend Olago Aloch went through Kiswahili test. That disappeared from 2013 to date. These my colleagues who have gone through elections since have never gone through such. Now, but Kenyans, when collecting views that were collected at the Bomas of Kenya, decided that we should have a minimum academic qualification. And I remember, if you look at the reports of the Committee of Experts, they had specified that elective positions, for you to contest elective positions, you have to have a degree. Now, when this was taken to Naivasha, the Committee of Parliament, and you know, a number of MPs then didn't have a degree or didn't have degrees. So it was a compromise that should be left for Parliament to legislate on. For President, Deputy President, Governor, Deputy Governor, the law, the degree qualification was prescribed in the Constitution. But for other positions, that is a member of Parliament and members of county assemblies, it was left to Parliament to legislate. So Parliament had an obligation. I want to answer Ndegwa why he thought, why he's asking and questioning why Parliament saw this as a priority.
Yeah.
Parliament is under obligation, under the article he has just mentioned, 99, to legislate on minimum qualification. It doesn't say Parliament must prescribe a degree qualification. It is a minimum academic qualification. Now, when we came, in 2011, I remember we passed this law. The person who brought the amendment to the law, to the Elections Act, that then it was Elections Bill, was Amos Kimunya. And we debated it, and immediately we passed it. And we passed it when majority of our colleagues who didn't have degrees were not even aware. Now, I remember Honorable Waibara had just lost his election petition. And Waibara really canvassed and tried to persuade members to consider his plight as an individual, but members rejected that and went ahead and passed it. Now, the other MPs who didn't have degrees, who had access to State House, accessed the president, the former president, Mwai Kibaki, and he refused to sign it, to assent to law, and actually brought a memorandum asking us to shelve it.
Yes.
And so we did, because we couldn't raise the two-thirds. And now came the 11th Parliament. Again, in 2017, January, we passed this law. And that is the time now Uhuru Kenyatta assented to it, and it became law. Now, I will just mention this, if you allow me.
Yes, please.
When we were discussing this bill at the Committee of the Whole House, it was on a Thursday, I remember, and some of our members were in Mombasa. Now, that day, we passed it. But then when we came back on Tuesday, there are members, I will not mention their names here.
Was here?
No, he wasn't.
He was in Mombasa?
No, he wasn't in Parliament then.
Okay.
Yeah. So some of the members came and asked us to recommit. I know my colleagues understand what recommittal means.
Yeah.
And we recommitted this provision, and there an agreement was reached that because there's a short period of time between 2017 January and August, let's allow for 5 more years. So that is when this law was deferred to 2022. This was actually a consensus, it's an agreement, and that is it. So where we are, the law is a degree. Now what I would have expected, my colleagues, and I agree with the Honorable Gachagua, that probably if MCS feel a degree requirement for a degree is too high, let's discuss it. But just saying that we don't need basic minimum qualification, when for you now, James, when we went to school, if you had a P2, you could be a headmaster of a school.
Yeah.
Right now, if you don't have a degree, you cannot be a headmaster of a school. I have had this argument of, in fact, when I discussed this matter in Parliament, interestingly, another guy sent me, another friend of mine, whom I have a lot of respect for, but I didn't know really that he didn't have a degree. He actually sent me a text message, which I still have, telling me, mentioning an MP from Rift Valley, whom he believes his constituency has done very well and has no degree compared to mine,
Right.
which, according to him, does not even have 1 kilometer of tarmac road.
Yes.
Now, it is true that my constituency has not had even an inch of tarmac road until now, when it is being done. But this is not because the MP did not push it. When I was in my first term, I pushed the issue of that road. I discussed it. It went to some level. An award was given. When Jubilee 1 came into power and the contractor failed, instead of advertising it again or re-advertising it, it was shelved because of where John Mbadi comes from. Now, just the other day, now it is being done. Is that work of an MP? The answer is no. If you ask me, James, the role of an MP is very clear. Let us not use wrong parameters to judge the role of an MP. If you look at Parliament, even like this afternoon, the moment we start discussing serious matters, a good number of MPs leave the chamber. A good number of them leave the chamber because they don't understand. And I don't think that is the kind of representation you need. There are some MPs in that house. In fact, the example this guy gave me, yes, that man never sits in Parliament. In fact, I can't remember any time he has ever made a contribution. If we go ahead and elect those people because Kenyans have a choice, we will have a Parliament that cannot even function. Let me finish by saying that we are not taking away the power of Kenyans from electing. Even right now, there are certain qualifications for one to run, one of which is fulfillment of Chapter 6, which we don't even follow. If you are a thief, for example, and you're being charged in court, you will not claim that your people are being denied opportunity. If you are told, if you are convicted for 6 months and above, and you try to run, you are supposed to be barred from running. You cannot claim the people's sovereign power to elect you when the basic qualification prescribed in law have not been met. So I want to just urge Ndegwa and those my friends, let them canvass and convince Parliament that A, we need to postpone this law further, and why, and up to when, and 2, probably, if they feel there is a threshold that is too high, yes, we can discuss that. But just to rubbish it, that we don't need minimum academic qualification when we need it for ECD teachers, as you put it, I think that's not fair.
It's a bit problematic. Yeah. Here's the thing, as you collect your thoughts on this and to respond. There is this idea that politicians and members of parliament and MCAs, all they need to do is to deliver to the people, build roads, build hospitals, and all these things. And the work in parliament is really, really a secondary work. There's this misconception, because then we say if Constitution X does not work, and we know for sure that you have other things to do, and government is involved, then you failed, right? How do we fix that, even as you respond to this question of minimum requirements?
Well, to start with, for the record, because you're asking whether I was in Mombasa, and the insinuation was that the people in Mombasa have no degrees, I want to tell you that I have a degree from the University of Nairobi.
No, you were,
the
you
very
were,
prestigious,
you were that parliament.
the very prestigious university when it was really
the University of Nairobi.
Yeah, the University of Nairobi.
Yes.
I have a degree in political science and literature. I graduated way back in 1988. And therefore, I'm not speaking because I don't have one. I'm speaking because I'm a Kenyan, I'm a leader, and leadership is not about academic qualifications. If you remember, during the last years of the Moi regime, there was a lot of pressure from the World Bank and the IMF that he puts serious guys with serious credentials, and he put up a dream team with guys, professors, with PhDs, you know. And 1 year down the line, the guys were kicked out of office. They did not deliver. I mean, academic qualifications is not leadership. Leadership is much more than academic qualifications. Be as it may, it is true that the role of parliament is legislative, representation, and oversight. But from the culture that we have had since independence, from where I come from, maybe it's very different from our leader here, or the minority. From where I come from, leadership is not judged on your contributions in parliament, not at all. His region, I think, there is a bit of that. In our region, because of what has been there, the tradition, leaders, their performance is judged on development, on their ability to push development, you know, to push government to do roads, to provide water, to do schools. And it doesn't matter if I was a very serious debater in parliament at the level of John Mbadi, I'm not likely to come back to parliament. I'll speak in parliament on things that concern my people,
yes,
things that concern the country, but I'll spend more time in presentation. I'll spend more time in pushing development activities, because that is what our people hold dear. So this matter, I agree with the John Mbadi. Let's have a conversation. Let us lower the threshold, especially for the MCAs. And let us also give time to the marginalized areas. Let's push this law a little bit, another 5 years, to give them time to catch up, to be able to enroll, you know, in a university and pursue, you know, a degree. But let us not condemn people with leadership qualities because of lack of certain academic qualifications. Because I can tell you, I don't want to name names. I know people with degrees, with PhDs. In my view, they are useless. They have no leadership capacity. You know, they can't even lead 10 people, but they have serious academic credentials. I know other people with a certificate, but they are serious leaders, you know, and they move communities, and they provide direction, and they give leadership, very thoughtful leadership that transforms lives. So I would feel quite unhappy to be part of the National Assembly that condemns good leaders from being in a position to lead simply because they lack certain, you know, academic credentials.
I want to get to Ndegwa, because I need to cut out this matter so that we discuss the other matters and let Ndegwa also leave. Ndegwa, tell us your piece. Here's the thing. At some point, we have to have some sort of qualifications. I'm sure you've discussed this among, you know, members of, you know, county assembly and that sort of thing. What is, if you like, what is your proposal for us to fix this?
Okay, I think our main concern, James, is that the parliament put the cart before the horse. The conversation that the leader of the minority is calling for right now should have been part at the time of enactment of this law. And I think for now we would be having a law that is well informed, having accrued sufficient public participation. And our main concern, and as the chair of the MCAs in this country, I know of MCAs who are serving the sixth term. A good lady in Kirifi is serving her 6th term. A very good gentleman in Bugoma is serving his 5th term. And James, what that law is telling us, that those people will stop being qualified to contest for MCA just because that this law has been passed. I thought if there was that conversation, that at least there would have been a proviso to that law, so that those kind of people who are already in office and having been declared as already qualified to contest that they would have been exempted from that one. Secondly, is that if we had a conversation and those members of parliament, as they pass that law, they understand very clearly what we do with the Wajiko at the grassroots, then I think you would be able to meet at some point and agree on the way forward. Another of our concern is that Mumbi Ngugi, in the case of Johnston Muthama, gave very clear and elaborate parameters that should be considered when the academic qualifications are being registered on by Parliament. And I think those parameters were never observed when I looked at the process of enacting this particular law. Again, to me, and I don't think we should go that direction, is that the law was passed in contempt of those declarations by the High Court. Finally, James, is that, education is an addition to the brains that are God-given. Albert Einstein said that brains is when you subtract everything that is education, that is knowledge. And we have seen people who have created very serious landmarks in this world, and they never went to any school, and they have even become professors at universities. We have found transformational leaders within the assemblies who have not gone to those schools. But at the end of the day, I think, especially as the first stop, is that those already in office, this law cannot come to disrupt their progression in life. And until that time, that the government is able to create an environment that anybody in this country can be able to walk into a university and study law, and that we have such an economy that we are able to support ourselves to be able to get these degrees, I think that would work. Again, James, and which is very important.
Yes,
our Constitution and the Elections Act says that your qualification to be an MCA is 18 years. The graduates, 90% of the graduates, they graduate at 23 years. So why do you have a law in vain that you can become an MC at 18 when we know that nobody will be graduated at 18? You cannot make a law in vain. And therefore, I'm saying this is a law that is not well thought out. And if it is the serious public participation, especially with the stakeholders who are the MCAs, then I don't think we should be arguing this issue here.
Ndego Wahome, thank you very much. You've done well. Appreciate your thoughts. We can go on and on about this question on the degree, and we should create many platforms for it. But thank you for your thought. When we come back, we want to discuss the questions of coalitions and brothers in handshake and what exactly that means. Don't go too far. You're watching With All Due Respect.
Like every mom, you want the best for your child.
Happy birthday.
You make sure she knows the joy of sharing happy moments with family. And when everything comes together, you above all others will share the taste of success with her. Blue Band tastes like mama's love.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and JQuat with support from the Europe.
Just one capful of Dettol is enough to disinfect surfaces and protect your family and your home. Dettol, tested effective against COVID-19.
Weka Collabo na Shell, Shinda Fuso FI is back and bigger. Weka Collabo na Shell Fuels plus Shell Lubricants, Africa's Oshopata convenience shop. To enter the draw, dial *384*200#, enter the code from your voucher and follow the prompts. Terms and conditions apply.
Unaonaje hiyo gift?
Tufanye tuwe wa Kenya milele.
Kenya
Unaona nika unaweza pata watu hili.
Marriage nika unaweza kupata mtoto sahihi.
But for me the number one priority for marriage is kids.
Kama hataki watoto.
Basi hapo utakuwa na wakati mgumu.
Struggles utapata wewe kama utapata mwanamke wa kumvisha pete mwanzo.
Una plan at least kuimarika.
Metka mtu mwenye akona pesa anaweza nipatia anything nataka.
We all know that these babes hizo pesa hata si zao. They're out here hustling men for money in this city.
Yani watu wanajificha kwenye simu, kwenye kompyuta, hujui na nini.
A 100% waiver of interest and penalties has been granted on all outstanding land rates owed to the county government of Uasin Gishu. The waiver runs from 3rd May to 30th June 2021. Uasin Gishu County, the champions.
Edinburgh Schools is the leading private school located in Murang'a town and next to Murang'a University, offering education for primary school and separate high schools for boys and girls. Edinburgh boys attained a mean grade of 8.39, while our girls got a mean grade of 7.43 in KCSE year 2020. We scored a total of 59 A's and A-minuses, and our Edinburgh primary school had a mean grade of 380 marks. We offer aviation among other major subjects. Our Form 1 intake is in progress for those who scored 320 marks and above. Few vacancies available for primary school, Form 2 and Form 3 in high school.
Malaria ni ugonjwa hatari sana unaoua watu wengi hapa Kenya. Japo kuko na corona, hatari ya malaria bado iko. Mtoto huyu alikuwa na joto jingi, kutetemeka, kuumwa na viungo na uchovu. Alikimbizwa hospitali ya umma ambako sheria za COVID-19 uzingatiwa na ni salama kwa shughuli ya upimaji. Vipimo vilionyesha kuwa ana malaria, na papo hapo daktari akampa dawa za malaria na kumshauri azimalize, na ili kujikinga wawe wakilala ndani ya neti iliyotibiwa. Malaria husambazwa na mbu. Walio hatarini ni watoto wa chini ya miaka 5 na akina mama wajawazito. Kupimwa na kutibiwa ni bure katika hospitali zote za umma. Usisahau adui malaria. Zero malaria huanza na mimi. Chukua jukumu leo. Komesha malaria. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na Wizara ya Afya.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex.
Protex. Good health starts here.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Did you know that diseases and accidents can occur suddenly and when least expected? If you have a medical insurance policy, it gives you peace of mind knowing that your medical expenses will be catered for by your insurer up to your policy limit. Now you know. IRA, promoting insurance, protecting the insured.
I've always been a hip-hop head. Yeah. Like, I literally don't know how else other people are.
Just about 10 minutes until the top of the hour. That conversation continues for...
I was raised on MTV, then it turned into VH1, turned to Trace, Channel O. Like, I've been through
Channel O, yes, we have something in common.
So to clear up the air to a meaning, what's the meaning behind your phrase?
Tunaifanya leo si kesho.
We do it today na tomorrow.
Leo hata saa hii.
Yo 5-8 kwa nini kesho si kesho?
Acha kumisius kwa nini kesho, hiyo ni heavy word. Hiyo ni heavy word yani.
Saa zingine sinanga upo ni clean mpiwa guys like me wanakuanga fiwa.
What's Good Africa in association with White Cup Lager.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and JQuat with support from the European Union.
Share with us what makes you Kenyan for a chance to win a gift hamper from Tusker. Tusker, Kenya Milele.
Weka Collabo na Shell, Shinda Fuso FI is back and bigger. Every time you visit Shell and Weka a collabo of Shell Fuels plus Shell Lubricants, Africa's or Shopata convenience stores, you stand a chance to drive off with one of 5 border borders up for grabs. What's more, one lucky winner will drive off with a brand new Mitsubishi L200 double cab in 4 weeks and stand a chance to win the grand prize of a Fuso FI with 2-year warranty and 5.5 kilometers per liter fuel efficiency, plus thousands of instant prizes,
10 daily winners of 5K vouchers, 400 daily winners of 100 bob airtime.
Weka Collabo na Shell, Shinda Fuso FI. Weka Collabo na Shell Fuels plus Shell Lubricants, Africa's or Shopata convenience shop. To enter the draw, dial *384*200 hash, enter the code from your voucher and follow the prompts. Terms and conditions apply.
Share with us what makes you Kenyan for a chance to win a gift hamper from Tusker. Tusker, Kenya Milele.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
All due respect, now the time to get into political questions and political matters. The brothers in the handshake. Coalition talks have been building. One side is happy, other side is unhappy. Let's start from here. Mbadi, is this coalition agreement between Jubilee and ODM set on stone?
Not really. You know, let me put it this. You know, every election, and Kenyans must have expected this, that as you move towards a general election, people come together, there's a rearrangement and reorganization of the political environment and equation. And people take sides. So this is not, there's nothing so unique about this. And the talks on this coalition have just begun. We are discussing how then we get to this coalition. It's a pre-election coalition with the Jubilee. And so others will join. By the way, you can't have a clear coalition arrangement 1 year to election. I don't think so. As we move forward, you'll find other people joining. We may form this coalition, other people will join our coalition, other people will go and join and form theirs. Some people may even join them in, although I heard him say that they don't need anyone. I think everybody who is in politics, anybody who is in politics needs support. And you need supporters all the time. He has talked about hustler movement. I think, in my view, this hustler narrative is actually a mirage.
How
you
so?
imagine, it is. I'll tell you. It is.
They've won seats in
Where?
the by-elections.
How many?
The ones that have been available so far.
How many?
Right?
How many have they won? You know, apart from the MCA seat that would have won in Nyandarua and another one in Nakuru, UDA has not won any other seat, not that I know of. And actually, why do you think they have been hiding behind other political formations, independent candidates? When they tried to field a candidate, they have fielded the candidates in Kisii twice. The MCA of Kiamakoma Ward. Actually, they took our candidate, the ODM candidate. They poached, and we had to go to the next available candidate, and their candidate was number 5. They went and took in Bonchari, Oyoka's wife, who I'm told has been very key in support that Oyoka was enjoying. And he came 3rd. So she came 3rd. So apart from the Msambweni, which they made a mountain out of it, look at their performance in Kabuchai. Look at the performance in Matungu. I don't think there is any empirical evidence that the whole country has embraced this so-called Halsa narrative. It is in their mind. And by the way, people attending political rallies, People will come. Let Ruto come to Homa Bay. I'm told he's coming. He will find a mammoth crowd waiting for him. But as to whether that will translate into votes, your guess is as good as mine. Actually, right now, people are saying he's bringing them money for groups. In fact, groups are putting their names down as we speak, even from my constituency, to go and attend his rally. So, to me, in a nutshell, UDA is a political party that is forming, that is given. But as to whether this so-called hustler narrative, hustler nation, is anything to write about...
Is it just a bit of arrogance to say your political opponent is nothing?
I'm not being arrogant. I'm not saying that UDA is not a strong political party. It is becoming a strong political party with a heavy presence in Rift Valley. And that is why they have recruited 1.5 million people in Rift Valley. I am not saying it is a useless party. Please mark my word. What I'm saying is that this so-called hustler narrative and hustler nation, that it has taken the psyche of this country and that it is now a movement, I doubt it because I have no evidence.
Let's hear from the horse's mouth.
Yes.
Rigathi, is the hustler nation this movement that captured the imagination of Kenyans?
Well, it's okay to dismiss other people. A lot of things are happening. The hustler nation won Juja fair and square against Jubilee. That was our candidate for the hustler nation. The PP is part of the hustler nation. It won the Rori Award. His counterpart, the majority leader, had said he would resign if Jubilee loses in Rori, in Nyandarua. He has not resigned. And you know, several years back, he had said he would rather die than resign. And he is not dead, and he did not resign. And Kiamba is coming, Oga is coming. UDA is very strong in the mountain. It's a party of the moment. And this will be in another 2-3 weeks, you'll see. You know where Juja is. You know that's the backyard of the party leader. You saw the humiliating defeat of Jubilee in Juja, in Rori, in Ladan Ward, in Gaturi, in Lakeview. And this is just the beginning. What is happening is that a lot of people in Jubilee have been cowed. They have been threatened. They have been persecuted. The use of the criminal justice system, to clamp down on people. All of them are just waiting. I had another lady in Kiambu saying now she is behind the Hema, saying Nyuma Hema. I'm just waiting, for things to happen. In fact, what is happening, this so-called alliance between NASA and Jubilee has given people an opportunity and an excuse to leave Jubilee. A lot of people wanted to leave, but
so when
no, I'm saying many people, not ourselves. Ourselves, our hearts are not in Jubilee. We are just there technically. We are gone, by soul.
But you can leave tomorrow. Why not?
Yeah, just give it another few months. You'll see what will happen. I'm saying a lot of people who have been saying they are in pro-handshake, they are in Kieleweke, they are very happy that they have gotten an excuse. That now that Jubilee has been swallowed by NASA, they want to leave Jubilee. And you'll see what will happen after the Kiaba by-election. And you call me again, you tell me, after the 15th.
We'll be here.
You'll see what will happen.
We'll be at this table.
You'll see what will happen. UDA is a serious political party that is the flagship of the hustler movement, And the hustler movement is everywhere. It's down at the coast, it's in the Rift Valley, it's the mountain, it's in Kisii, it's everywhere. This is a party that was just formed the other day. It's doing very well within a very, very short time. This is a party that is having serious recruitment. Even Jubilee never recruited people. It was formed on a wave for the re-election of President Uhuru Kenyatta, But now this is a party with structures. It's a party with membership. It's a party where people are going out to recruit people. But be as it may, he is saying it's good to have coalitions, and it's fine. We are not saying we don't need anybody. What we are saying, we have no business with the tribal kingpins. That you come and say, I'm coming here on behalf of the Kambani. We are not interested. I'm coming on behalf of the Luo Nation. We are not interested. What we are saying, if you have programs, if you have an economic agenda for the revival of the Kenyan economy that is in tatters, we are in trouble as a country. Anybody who wants to come and bring value in terms of economic programs, in terms of the bottom-up economic model, is welcome to the Hustler Nation.
The issue is the thing. You're still in Jubilee. Still Jubilee is the ruling party, right? The deputy president would be, I'm assuming, the party leader and would run on this political party. When we say the country is in tatters and this country has not worked and it's not working for people and the economy is not working, you're currently right now, some of your members sit in the biggest seats, say for instance the deputy president. Why can't you fix that now?
Which big seat? The deputy president has been thrown out of government. You know that. With the advent of the March 18th handshake, the deputy president was sidelined from government. He has no role in government. He takes no responsibility for the second term. For the first term of President Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto can be held to account.
But what, so why not leave if you're not taking responsibility of this?
He was not appointed by Uhuru Kenyatta. If Uhuru Kenyatta decides not to assign him responsibility, so be it. He was elected by the people of Kenya. They have not asked him to resign, and he will not resign. He'll hang around and continue drawing a salary because he needs food on his table, because he was given a job to do for 5 years. The people who gave him the job have no problem with him. If his immediate boss...
As a question of integrity. As a matter of integrity. If I do not have work, all right, if for some reason, me and my boss cannot agree, as you claim rightly so, it's a matter of walkout.
No, you can't, because if it's integrity, even the boss needs to apply integrity. Why do you deny your deputy work and you give some other busybodies his responsibility who are not elected by anybody, who have no mandate? This is an office that is in the Constitution. He's the principal assistant to the president.
So he'll be there to the last day?
He will be there to the last day. You can take that to the bank. Okay. And you know the idea, let me tell you, James, the idea was to humiliate William Ruto, to embarrass him, to make him feel small, to abuse him. They thought that because he's an abrasive character, he'll get annoyed and walk out of government. I'm sorry, he will not. William Ruto will stay in office until the last day, and he will leave that office to State House. He will leave the office of the deputy president on his way to State House as president of the Republic of Kenya.
But who's frustrating the deputy president? Who has the powers to frustrate
the president himself? Let me tell you, the president, for his own reasons, decided to frustrate his deputy, and that is why the handshake came in, and it's a choreography. And some of us saw through it a long time ago, and we made a decision that we are not interested anymore. And that is why when they announced that Jubilee is joining NASA, we knew that is what was in the offing. This handshake has nothing to do with the people of Kenya. It was about the two leaders and their political ambitions and 2022 succession. And we say, they kept on saying, no, the handshake has nothing to do with 2022. They are now saying the handshakers are coming into a coalition. It was intended. And some of us who have been with President Uhuru Kenyatta for a long time, so through him, because we know him, we could see the footprints, and we knew where it was heading, and it has come to pass.
I need to get this response.
Yeah, I'm happy that Rigathi is confessing here the dishonesty of the deputy president, that he can be in office to have money to put food on the table of his children and himself, but not to work for Kenyans. That's the kind of a leader we have in the deputy president. Very unfortunate, because I expect that you should not put your personal interests, your selfish interests of providing for your family ahead of the interests of the country. But be that as it may, Rigathi is forgetting that the handshake came way too early in the second Jubilee government. And this was because this country was at a standstill. And we were not moving. We had basically, whether you like it or not, two presidents, one officially sworn in by the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, and another one, People's President, who his supporters congregated at Uhuru Park and swore in. And the country was even talking of secession. And we know where the country was, basically. So I don't want to go back there. So I don't think this shaking of hands began with 2022 in mind. That would be very unfair to the two leaders. If it has graduated to that, it has graduated to that. So I want to also point out something that he said about the performance of Jubilee. Let me tell you, in an economy, the effects of bad governance start showing so many years down the road. And I will tell you that the problems that we are going through today is as a result of Jubilee 1. From 2013, and I've interacted, by the way, James, with the budget of this country more than any other member of parliament. I have been in the budget committee, Budget and Appropriations Committee, from 2008, when the first Budget and Appropriations Committee was formed in this country. And I've never left that committee. So I will tell you that from 2014 to 2019, we have been borrowing expensively at 8%, 7% minimum.
But surely ODM is going to take the blame from 2018.
We can't take the blame. Just listen, James, first of all, which member of ODM currently serves in the executive arm of government?
You support the bills in parliament.
No, we support for the country to move. We don't support the bills in parliament for the sake of it.
But support the executive.
Listen, all members of parliament, James, are supposed to participate in legislation. Where we feel things are not going right, we point out. But where we feel things are going right,
help me understand.
Support.
Help me understand. At what point is ODM going to say, we draw the line here of the governance of this country because we are not involved, but then on the same time say, we support the executive in everything executive does? Where do you draw
James,
the line?
I really don't know exactly what you want ODM to do. To oppose anything that comes to parliament because it has come from Jubilee, that we said no to. We said we will support any progressive proposal that is brought to parliament. When things are not right, we question. Last year, I was very instrumental in returning the budget back to the executive because we felt it was not COVID responsive. I remember also there was a time we spoke very strongly on these matters until people were asking whether handshake is collapsing or not. The bottom line today is that we can now talk to government. Unlike previously when you were just shouting like a madman in the street, at least for now, some members of the government, the executive, because again, the executive, remember, this government was formed by these two individuals, the president and his deputy. They brought their members to the cabinet. And those members have not left, including the members brought by the deputy president. So this government is still Uhu-Ruto government, whether you like it or not. Who is in charge of energy? It is still Keter. Whether he makes mistakes or not, he's still the minister.
So ODM is still in opposition?
ODM, we are not in opposition. We are minority party. We are minority party.
For
your information,
yes,
we don't have opposition in parliament. Parliament as an institution should oversight the executive.
Okay.
And I will tell you, by the way, even if you ask me, a lot of ills in this country, and they will deny it from morning to evening to night. We said it from 2014, that you are putting this country to a position we will not be able to pay the debts. We said it that where we are, you are borrowing expensive debts. He will confirm to you. The debts that we are borrowing today are not as expensive as what we borrowed between 2014 and 2018. And
this is a result of
the debts
ODM.
we are borrowing today is at 0% to 3%. The highest, the most expensive is 3%.
Is that because of the influence of ODM in executive
That is
and
because
management?
of two things. Number one, ODM, we point out to the executive the ills, and we have told them, in fact, before we passed the VAT on fuel at 8%, which was initially proposed at 16%, Kenyans are not appreciating that we negotiated it downwards to 8%.
Right.
Now, before we passed it, there was an agreement that we are going to borrow loans that are cheap, not expensive loans. And that is being followed. The problem we had also of money being borrowed and stolen. At least we provided a platform where now there was again discussion around corruption.
But still, the pandemic, we've had KEMSA, we still have theft.
It is there.
In spite of,
it is there.
With all due respect.
Yes, it is there. It is there because...
So how are we going to separate the theft from 2013 to 2017? Let's agree.
By the way...
Let's agree. There's theft 2013, 2017, which you say you have nothing with it. But the theft in 2018 to 2027, we also have nothing with it. But you also want to say we take credit for the things that government has done.
James, have I mentioned here that the government is not committing any crime now? I have not said that.
Okay.
First of all, I made it very clear that ODM is not running this government. We know who is in charge of the executive. We know who sits in the cabinet. Have you ever seen ODM member in the cabinet sitting to discuss the affairs of the executive?
Okay, I'll go to that.
James, let's be very honest here. To start with, Deputy President William Ruto has not absconded duty. His duties have been given to Fred Matiang'i and Raila Odinga and others. Be as it may, that's the prerogative of the president. But that does not mean that you are given a job by the people of Kenya, you walk out because the boss is frustrating you. That will be giving satisfaction to the person who wants to frustrate you. We shall not give that satisfaction to Uhuru Kenyatta. No, it will not happen. Number two, a lot of theft has taken place after the handshake because there is nobody to talk about it.
But with all due respect,
these guys,
before the handshake,
no, let me say, they are saying a lot of theft has taken place, but they are trying to absolve themselves from blame. The COVID haste, ODM characters are inside, and nobody is talking about it. The ODM people, and when they, after the handshake, they see no evil, they hear no evil. Okay? So things are just happening. There's a lot of impunity, and things are just happening. Previously, they were telling us that it's William Ruto who was running corruption in this country. William Ruto is out of government. No, I'm just saying, they were saying so. That was the chorus. Yeah. That was the chorus. A lot of things have happened after he has been put aside. Okay? So who takes the blame then? You know? And we are saying, James, let's be very honest here. I have seen cabinet secretaries going to Capitol Hill to brief Raila Odinga. They brief him as who? If he is not in government, these are cabinet secretaries. They fly a flag.
He's a Kenyan. He's a Kenyan leader.
There's no barrier. But how do they come to brief you?
I'm not Raila Odinga.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He cannot run away from the failures of this government because I have seen cabinet secretaries going to brief him, you know, on the happenings in government. So he is part and parcel of government, you know, and he has been brought to government.
Right.
And I saw him the other day flying with an army chopper, you know, for the armed forces. You know, he's a VIP. He's in government. He's being briefed by cabinet ministers. He's part of this government, you know, and he must take responsibility. So what position does he
whatever
position, I don't know what position because that's what we don't understand. The cabinet secretaries are briefing him as who? I saw him another day in Mombasa giving directives to Kenya Ports Authority and giving a deadline, you know, and he's a Kenyan like you, but he has been brought to government through the handshake, of course illegally, because there is no provision. I would like to disagree with the leader. We had no two presidents in this country. Yeah, we had the President of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, duly elected and sworn in.
So according to you,
we had an imposter.
There was no problem.
No, we had another one who is an imposter, who is pretending to be a president.
No, hang on,
let me finish. He's an imposter. You know, he could be charged with obtaining by false pretenses. You pretend to be a president. You pretend to be sworn in. The Constitution is very clear. Who can swear in a president? It's the Chief Justice and the Registrar of the High Court. You know, a lawyer, just some two lawyers, cannot swear in a president. And then we are saying that we are two presidents. That is a mirage. It's not true.
Hang on. With all due respect, are you saying 2017 elections, we didn't have a problem in the country?
No, we didn't have a problem.
There was no problem.
A president was elected in office. Another guy lost the elections. He went to court. The court nullified the elections, ordered for a repeat. He absconded, went to the streets a few days, and that is it. I have no idea.
There was no problem.
I have no idea myself why the president decided to sit down with Raila Odinga and bring him on board. It was unnecessary. Why do you have a contest? There are winners and losers. This thing that you can have two winners, or you need, after somebody has defeated you, you look for him, it's unnecessary. And I am saying, by that handshake, it has destroyed Jubilee and destroyed NASA. Either way. Either way. You know, and that is why things are at a standstill. Because you also need a minority that is checking government.
Okay, hang on. So, I don't know who's in opposition and who's in government now and who's supposed to be checking each other, but you said that after 2017, there's been theft in government. You've called about the Kemsa heist and whatever it is. Do you have evidence?
About?
The theft. Who are the thieves?
No, I'm not saying about who are the thieves. I'm saying theft has taken place. So you cannot say, because of the handshake, they say they are coming in to stem in corruption. Yeah? The biggest scandal has taken place when the handshake is in place. And the handshakers are not speaking. They are quiet.
But you
because
can
their mouths are full.
But you can speak, Rigathi.
No,
Your side of
I'm saying they are not speaking because you don't speak when your mouth is full. Their mouths are full. They are not speaking. They used to speak before.
You know, first of all,
yes.
James, I wish my colleague here could be courteous to us by first, who are these shadowy characters of ODM who are in the KEMSA scandal? I have not heard of any name. And if there are names, why don't you put it public? You are in politics. That is your duty. You are an overseer. You are supposed to oversight. If it is Mbadi, whom you think has stolen from KEMSA, what is so difficult by saying Mbadi is also part of the people who have stolen at KEMSA? I can tell you I have never supplied even a toothpick to government. I have never even attempted. I have not even received any coin from government. So calling all of us and lumping all the ODM members as having eaten and their mouths are full. And my mouth is not full, for heaven's sake, my friend. I don't think I've
with
ever
all due respect.
With all due respect.
Yes.
So my mouth is not full.
Yeah.
The other thing, this KEMSA thing, I'm on record as having spoken about it. Not once, not twice, many times. And I've said we need speedy investigation. I don't know where the investigation ended. And I'm saying the fact that we are in handshake, in cooperation, that we are now cooperating with the Jubilee and supporting them, does not mean we have to keep quiet when things are not going right. We have said it, and I want to repeat it here. If there is anyone who has stolen Kenyan money, and I suspect there is, especially this KEMSA scandal, you have asked my colleague whether there is evidence. A lot of these thefts that are being talked about, there are no evidence that can be presented on the table. But investigation should be conducted.
Hang on, Chama. That's not quite correct, because these people have come to Parliament, and we've had stories of people who are walking on the road of Parliament and they're being called to get all these things. Surely, something does not smell right. We've lost billions of shillings.
We have lost money, and you are speaking the same language we are speaking.
So we cannot say there's no evidence.
No, what I'm saying is that don't ask us for evidence when we challenge the government to crack on corruption, because it smells everywhere. And KEMSA, there is certainly something wrong. We need an answer to that. Now, on the question of Raila Odinga being visited by government officials, you know, this is the kind of governance that we want to change. Actually, that is why among the 9-point agenda of the BBI, inclusivity was very prominent. We want a system where any Kenyan can engage with a government official. It doesn't have to be Raila Odinga alone. It should be anybody, including you, James, to be able to go to a government ministry and get services and be able to engage. Raila Odinga is such a serious leader in this country. He has seen it all. He has been a prime minister of this country. He has fought for independence, for the second liberation in this country and the democratic space. If any government official feels he should or she should consult with him, it is. And by the way, last comment. Yeah? My friend here about Deputy President, he's not here, but let me say this. Deputy President told us when we were talking about Waiguru that we should ask him and Uhuru Kenyatta. We will ask him and Uhuru Kenyatta.
That's a very good place to take a break, with all due respect, gentlemen. It's getting hot, and it's getting quite hot. We're taking a short break. When we come back, we're going to take to how do we move this forward? Who's going to take the blame for all the failures in the next 10 years? Don't go too far. Taking a short break, we'll be right back.
Unaonaje hiyo gift?
Kenya wetu hutufanya tuwe wa Kenya milele.
Kenya milele.
At Moko, we are offering our customers home and living furniture that is comfortable, durable, and at an affordable price. Doorstep delivery was a challenge that Sandy took up and solved for us. Sandy has offered us an online platform. We're able to track the vehicles that are doing the deliveries. We're able to see how much time they're spending at each customer's home, how many kilometers we're traveling, and how fast we're able to move from customer to customer. Sandy understands the world of logistics. They've literally lifted a load off our shoulders. We are now able to focus on the two things that matter to us. making our customers happy and growing our business.
Unaona nika unaweza pata watu hili.
But for me, the number one priority for marriage is kids.
Kama hataki watoto.
Basi hapo utakuwa na wakati mgumu.
Struggles utapata wewe kama utapata mwanamke kumvisha pete mwanzo.
Una plan at least kuimarika.
Mimi mtu mwenye akona pesa anaweza nipatia anything nataka.
We all know that these babes, hizo pesa hata si zao. They're out here hustling men for money in this city.
Yani watu wanajificha kwenye simu, kwenye kompyuta, hujui na nini.
A 100% waiver of interest and penalties has been granted on all outstanding land rates owed to the county government of Uasin Gishu. The waiver runs from 3rd May to 30th June 2021. Uasin Gishu County, the champions.
We have moved. The Nation Media Group Kisumu office is now located at Mega Plaza along Oginga Odinga Street, Wing A on the 6th floor. Contact our customer care desk for more details on 0719 038931 for assistance.
Tomorrow, we focus on those gearing up to turn 30. Yes, as you know, we have been shedding light on the hopes and fears that come with every age group. And going by your requests, a lot of people have concerns about turning the big 3-0. Why is this? Victor Kiprop will be on the steering wheel from 7 a.m. to find out. So, see you then.
Unaonaje hiyo gift? Hutufanya tuwe wa Kenya milele.
Kenya milele.
All right, welcome back. With all due respect, we left it at high and let's get it back there. Let's start with the question of what happens to Jubilee now. Now with this new arrangement, Jubilee getting into bed, if you like, with ODM. Rigathi, what happens to your good
Well,
party?
Jubilee has been in bed with ODM for the last 3 years. It's just being formalized. You know, Jubilee left a long time ago, and the party became very dictatorial and very, very uncompromising. The party is practically dead. The organs do not meet. Nothing goes on. Even this merger with NASA, stroke ODM, has not been discussed with anybody at any party organ. Yeah, it's just the party leader. He makes unilateral decisions. But I can tell you for free, the membership moved on a long time ago. I can tell you for free, the people in Jubilee have no intention to follow President Kenyatta to NASA.
Tell me,
he'll go on his own.
What's going to happen in Kiambaa on the 15th?
Well, Kiambaa, the people of Kiambaa will make a decision. And I've just come from there. And they have no intention of following Uhuru Kenyatta to NASA. They have no such intention, I can tell you. And also, the candidate there has told Jubilee bigwigs not to come and campaign there because Jubilee is so unpopular. He wants to campaign on his own. In fact, he has stopped putting red posters. He has stopped putting the Jubilee sign because Jubilee is so unpopular. He thinks if they came the other weekend. The Honorable Kimunya came there, and he opened his mouth, and the guy lost more than 5,000 votes when he started threatening the people that if they don't vote for Jubilee, there will be no development. The people of Mount Kenya cannot buy fear. These are freedom fighters. These are people who drove away the British colonialists from this land. They are people you don't sell fear to. In fact, Kimunya did a lot of injustice to that guy, and really helped the UDA candidate because it is that kind of arrogance that the people of the mountain hate. The kind of arrogance that has been exhibited by the likes of David Murade. That is what has really acted the people. And I can tell you, Juja was something. Kiambaa will be something big. And I can tell you, it will change the politics of the mountain and the politics of this country. Be as it may, let me wind up. There is nothing wrong with what the NASA guys are crying. why they are crying is that they have just realized they are victims of political deceit and political conmanship. They have been conned twice. First and foremost, they helped Raila Odinga to amass quite a substantial vote in NASA that enabled him to go and negotiate with President Uhuru Kenyatta. And he went alone and left them beside. That's the first betrayal. And they are very bitter about it, and that's why they are ranting. Then, without tact, they followed Raila Odinga, who had betrayed them, into the handshake, without knowing the real handshake, because there is a 9-point agenda, but there is what was discussed when we were not there, and that was about 2022. They were not part of that equation. Along the way, they believed that the President Uhuru Kenyatta would endorse them, would help them. Now that Jubilee is having an agreement with ODM and Raila Odinga, they can see the out of the equation. So they have been betrayed again on this other side. So that bitterness, you have seen Kalonzo Musyoka, in a very, very uncharacteristic of him, by the way. He's been very measured, but you can see because of the two betrayals, he's not able to control himself. Musalia is very clear, he has nothing to do with ODM and Raila Odinga because of that betrayal. But I want to tell them to welcome to the word of betrayal. They should ask us. We've been betrayed, you know. We made Uhuru Kenyatta president. He left us. He went and embraced the people we were fighting, and the ones he told us are bad people, and the ones he had such bad words about them in mother tongue, words that he cannot undo in his lifetime, you know, and abandoned his people and went. In fact, when the history of this country is written, there will be a chapter that our president, Uhuru Kenyatta, will be the first president to leave government and walk into opposition. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Makes him a statesman, perhaps.
Well, I'm saying from our history, you know, it talks volumes. He'll be the first one. But we are saying ourselves we have no problem. In fact, the president has a democratic right as a Kenyan to support anybody. And nobody has any problem with that. He can support Raila Odinga, he can support NASA, he can campaign for him. He's free to do so. All we are asking him to do is also to be democratic enough and allow us from his region to support a candidate of our choice, William Ruto, and not threaten us, not intimidate us, not persecute us. Just the way we are saying he is free as a Kenyan to support Raila Odinga, to support NASA, whoever he feels he wants to support. Yeah. He must allow the people from his backyard to also support the person they want.
Mbadi, is the president, is it expressly clear the president is supporting Raila Odinga for president, as Rigathi puts it?
First of all, James, you should charge Rigathi for using your station to campaign in Kiambaa, because what basically he has done is just to campaign. I don't think there's any empirical evidence on the table that they have already taken that seat. If you talk to the other side, they will also exude the same confidence. But anyway, let's wait for the people of Kiambaa to make a decision on 15th. And whichever way it goes, that is their choice. Remember, I remember, you know, these guys really like jumping onto some wins, even which it's not theirs. I remember when Ochieng won Ugenya seat, the deputy president jumped into it and started saying that was his candidate, until Ochieng realized the folly of that and disowned him. But that is another topic for another day. I don't think Uhuru Kenyatta has said that he is going to support any presidential candidate. And saying conmanship, I think, is also being unfair to President Uhuru. I think Uhuru Kenyatta has been very clear that he doesn't want to engage in who becomes the president in 2022 now. The discussion that is going on right now is between ODM party and Jubilee party. And that is why you see party officials represented from both sides. In fact, I've not seen Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta in those meetings. But of course, they're our leaders. And we even expect William Ruto is still technically Jubilee to be making a contribution to that. But about whether this is, whether it is, you know, when the time comes, a lot of formations will be formalized. And I will tell you that I want to dissuade my friend Rigathi about what people have said in this country. That is why we came up with BBI, so that some of the ills, the mistakes we have done, the words that we have used against each other. Uhuru has said a lot of bad things about Raila. Raila has done the same. Ruto has done. These are the things that we were saying. We now need to come together as a nation and compete on the basis of principles and not just words. You are talking about Uhuru talking about us or Raila or whatever in bad words in mother tongue. Ruto equally, if you could play what Ruto said in 2007 about Kikuyus, my friend, you would want to run away. So people have said bad things. Mbadi has said bad things about other communities. We are saying, as a country, for how long are we going to continue in that trajectory? It is not good for our country. It is destroying us. The fact that Rigathi cannot speak my mother tongue does not make him a less of a leader. He can still lead this country. What we need is a leader who is going to grow the economy of this country and move us forward. It's not about these stereotypes. It's not about this scaremongering. I mean, we talk about others. In fact, I remember in our place, we made our people to believe that all our problems is caused by people from a particular community. There's also that community. They were also told that if Raila becomes the president, you will be forced to walk, to wear only short trousers, not long trousers. And all these kinds of things, they were said. And these two leaders, where I agree with them, is they realize that they have also contributed to where Kenya is today. And we need to bring Kenya together. Even if, Rigathi, tomorrow you are in government, God forbid, because I don't want you to be in government, especially the direction you have taken. But if you are to be in government, I would want to be treated like any other Kenyan. So if tomorrow we are in government and you want services from the government, you should get it like any other Kenyan. And so I wanted just to correct that this idea of saying that people said bad things about others and now you are bringing him to us or things like that, that is neither
it's
here
water
nor
under the
there.
bridge.
It is something that was,
we
made mistakes,
yeah,
and we should own up to these mistakes and to stop. We should not continue making those mistakes.
I mean, I cannot let you go with that without discussing BBI for sure, you know, and where it is. Are we going to have this BBI for sure? This referendum, is it going to happen?
It is the courts to decide. I may not be in a position to answer that.
There's a discussion.
It is at the appellate court, and we hope, that is why we went for an appeal, that the courts will determine in our favor. If it turns out that the judgment is against the PPI, that PPI's referendum cannot proceed with the referendum, probably we'll take a decision to go to the Supreme Court. If it fails there, then that will be the end of it. We are a law-abiding country. I may disagree with the judgment, but there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing that we will do if BBI is determined unconstitutional and cannot proceed by the courts. We went to Court of Appeal because the High Court is not the final court.
Absolutely. There's Court to Secretary General, Francis Atwoli, said that if BBI, we go through all these processes and still there is no opportunity for a referendum, then it's, in his view, will postpone the elections until we get BBI. Do you hold the same view?
Do you think I can speak for Atwoli?
Not much said. Thank you very much. With all due respect, he does not speak for Atwoli. Rigathi, from where you sit, is BBI going to happen? Do you?
I don't know, but I pray it doesn't happen. It's not a priority. It's waste of public funds. We're going to spend 14 billion when people are dying. They have no vaccination. They have no food. The minister has said our children should be sent out of school. I have not received money for CDF. Governors who are pro-BBI are crying for 5 months. They have not received money. It's not a priority for this country. But if the court decided it goes on, the people of Kenya will make a decision on the ballot. But in my view, it's unnecessary and it's uncalled for. It's not a priority for this country. As for Francis Atwoli, these are the friends Jubilee keeps. And that's why we have left Jubilee.
Just in the Jubilee.
That kind of,
with all respect,
we are technically out there, but my soul is not there. Because if the people who talk for Jubilee are Francis Atwoli, I have no business. The constitution of this country is very clear. The only way you can extend the term of parliament is if this country is at war. Unless Francis Atwoli is planning with his Jubilee people to go and create a war with Somalia or with Uganda or Tanzania. I don't know which other method he would use to extend the life of parliament and this government because of BBI. You know, a phantom or something that is neither here nor there, and he is talking very serious issues. And apparently, these are the people who dine with the kings. They are the people who are up there. So when we check, that's why we are uncomfortable. You know, whom does he speak for? And he speaks so authoritatively, you know. on such sensitive matters, you know. I don't know whether he has read the constitution of this country. I don't know whether he knows the public mood. The people of this country cannot take another extra day of this government. They want this government gone and gone on the 9th of August next year so that they have a new government. So when he talks that way, it is very irritating to a lot of people. And people are just quiet because they have a date with the constitution and destiny. 9th of August, they do elections, they elect a new government, and life moves on. And that's why people are quiet and satisfied, just to wait for time to while away.
Do I have even
yes,
a minute?
Yes, let's take a minute and finish. Yeah.
Yeah, just maybe that's... you know, there was this talk about betrayal of NASA, which Rigathi has been, NASA principals, NASA partners, that Honorable Rigathi has been talking about. Let me put it this way. First, the handshake. If these principals of NASA believe that Raila Odinga should have briefed them before the handshake, I think they would be wrong. If Raila Odinga or Uhuru Kenyatta engaged their lieutenants in this discussion, the handshake would have not taken place. You can take that to the bank.
Because of
and
why?
You've just listened to what Rigathi is saying here, that to him, there was nothing wrong. From end of 2017 to the beginning of 2018, he doesn't even understand how Uhuru Kenyatta sat down with Raila. If those are the people Uhuru was supposed to consult before the handshake, then you'd know, you'd predict where this country would be today. Secondly, who betrayed who? It is the NASA principals, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, who did not join the rest of the NASA brigade at Uhuru Park.
So that
is the beginning.
That's the genesis of the NASA problem.
And I don't see why they should emphasize, where is the betrayal from ODM side? I hear them talking about the political parties' funds. James, I wish I had time. Do you know how political parties' funds is calculated? It is calculated not even on the basis of seats. It's on the basis of votes. And apart from presidential votes, which is not even being used to calculate the money that we receive as ODM, we competed, I personally competed against Ford Kenya candidate. That was my fiercest opposition. And the votes that I got, he ate into my votes. ODM is getting less allocation today because of a Ford Kenya candidate in my constituency, who probably didn't have a chance, but was brought there for whatever reason, I don't know. And it happened across the country. Look at the seat we lost in Langata. It's because of competition within NASA. Then after my little votes, another member of ODM's little votes have made us have allowed ODM to get whatever we are getting, then you want to share it.
So basically they have no case, that's what
to me, if they had a basis, they would be in court today. I will tell you.
But they don't.
In court, we had a very clear agreement. And we shared money for 5 years. I was still the chairman of ODM from 2014, November. I've been chairman of ODM. And we religiously transferred funds to Wiper and Ford Kenya without even a cent remaining. In fact, we were paying them even before we pay anybody else. But from 2017, they must accept that the presidential vote for ODM was not counted. That is why Jubilee is getting almost twice as much allocation as ODM.
All right, gentlemen, final thoughts?
Well, let's see how it goes. This is a democratic country. Let formations be formed, let people have coalitions, let everybody consult with who and who. But finally and ultimately, the people of Kenya will make a decision at the ballot of the next leadership of this country. And we are all looking forward. You know, we are actually impatient. You can't wait for the 9th of August so that we can have a new government in place, a government that is democratic, that does not practice dictatorship, a government that does not persecute people for their political beliefs, a government that will restore the economy of this country and revive, you know, the fortunes of our people so that they can be able to go about their lives.
You also cannot wait, 9th of August.
But that government certainly cannot be led by William Ruto. That is the government I really want. But I know that government cannot be led by William Ruto. He has no history of democracy. He has no history of fighting corruption. He has no history of good governance. He has history of the opposite. So I certainly believe what he's saying. Kenyans are waiting for good governance. Kenyans are waiting for good life. Kenyans are waiting for good economy.
According to you?
Well, you know my candidate. My candidate has always been and remains Raila Odinga. If he will be on the ballot, I will still vote for him. I will support him. I'll campaign for him. Thank you.
We respect the views of the Honorable John Mbadi.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the decision on who will be president will not be made by John Mbadi.
No, I will also make it, but I will not make it alone. He's getting it wrong. It will be John Mbadi and others, including himself. I'm also a Kenyan, by the way, and I have a vote.
That's okay.
Yes.
With all due respect, that's how we wrap up tonight. Thank you very much for your company. Thank you very much, gentlemen. John Mbadi, Chairman ODM, and Rigathi Gachagua, MP. We'd like to see you again. And you've all done well for, talking from where you sit.
Call me after Kiamba.
We'll call after Kiamba, and the chairman as well to react.
Yeah. No, you can call Jubilee to react. I'm dual candidate in Kiamba. Thank you.
You have no dog in the house. Thank you very much.
NASA has swallowed Jubilee. So
right, that's how we wrap up. My name is James Smart. Have a lovely night.
This is